I used to sell seafood in the morning market, fresh octopus, oysters, shrimp, abalone. My hands were always slick with brine, my nails cracked from prying open shells. Business used to be steady, but that changed when the vendor next to me started slashing prices, dirt cheap, desperate deals to lure in anyone. Soon, no one came to my stall anymore. By the end of each day, the ice would melt into bloody water, and the seafood sat there, unwanted, dying slow. Rent was due. My pantry was nearly empty. Even my old rice cooker gave up on me. One evening, as I sat on an overturned crate scrolling through my cracked phone, I stumbled across an online contest, a MUKBANG challenge, raw seafood only. Whoever got the most views would win a cash prize. I stared at my unsold octopus, still twitching slightly. The rules said live seafood brought the best engagement. The viewers were drawn to the drama, the visceral thrill, the rawness of it all, the grotesque spectacle that unfolded on their screens. And while it all felt absurd and ridiculous to me, I knew deep down that I had nothing left to lose. That night, I set up a small ring light I bought years ago. I sat in my cramped kitchen with a tray of writhing tentacles and hit record. The first bite was the hardest. The suction cups clung to my tongue, slapping against my lips like they were alive. They were. I chewed quickly, swallowing down my revulsion. My throat itched, my lips tingled. Still, I finished the tray, edited the footage, and uploaded it. By morning, the video had exploded. 1 million views, then 2, then 5. My inbox flooded with comments. King of Octopus! Look at the size of those tentacles. What a legend! I checked the prize page. I had won. But more than that, the algorithm kept feeding my video to hungry eyes. And hungry eyes paid. Viewers begged for more. Try abalone next. Eat 5 oysters at once. Do a challenge, an hour of raw octopus. So I listened. Every night, whatever didn't sell, I ate. Squirming shrimp, slippery mussels, thick slices of raw tuna that bled onto my chin. The worse it looked, the more they loved it. Money rolled in. At first, I used it to fix the rice cooker, restock my kitchen. Then, I stopped selling seafood altogether. Why sell it for pennies when I could eat it for thousands? But something started to change. After each video, I felt wrong. My stomach clenched in waves. My skin broke out in hives, crawling with heat. At first, I blamed it on freshness. I told myself the seafood had just sat too long. I bought antihistamines and carried on. But one morning, I noticed something on my arm. A tiny lump just below the skin, soft and round, like a bubble. Over the week, more appeared, on my wrist between my fingers. They pulsed sometimes, subtly, disturbingly, almost as if they were alive. I ignored it. I had followers to feed, but it got worse. After each meal, the heat rushed to my face, my lips swelled unbearably, and the itching crept beneath my skin like something alive, constant and cruel. Still, the views were too good. I couldn't stop. My latest challenge was 3 kilograms of raw tiger shrimp. I managed maybe half before I had to stop and throw up. I scrubbed my face, cut out the scene, and uploaded anyway. This time, the response was lukewarm. Then the comments came. Cut video? Fake mukbang? He's not even chewing anymore. If you're real, do it live. Let's see it happen raw and unedited. One comment hit harder than the rest. Go live at the market. Eat there. If you do it for real, I'll donate double. My stomach churned, not out of fear, but from a deeper hunger. A hunger that wasn't mine. Something darker. Something growing inside me. Still, I agreed. The next morning, I returned to the market, not as a seller, but as a performer. I set up a folding table piled high with seafood. I returned to the very stall where I once bled my hands, cracking shells and chasing sales. Now, it hosted my return as something else entirely. A crowd gathered fast, phones up, streaming live. I smiled at the camera, lifted a massive octopus, and bit in. I forced myself to chew, swallowing the writhing mass with an effort that turned my stomach. And as I reached for another bite, the sound of applause erupted around me, eager and unrelenting. I reached for another tentacle, but the moment I bit down, my throat refused it. I gagged, then dropped to my knees. My vision blurred, and my chest heaved with a rising, uncontrollable panic. Then I felt them, dozens of them bursting under my skin. The lumps on my arms rippled. Something writhed inside them. I screamed. The skin peeled off in strips. Beneath, rows of suckers glistened like birthmarks, twitching as if tasting the air. My fingers twitched involuntarily, curling into themselves as spasms shot through them like electric pulses, each one sharper and more foreign than the last. The tips of my fingers split open, and from within, something dark and glistening began to slither out. The crowd gasped, then scattered in shrieking chaos. My stomach swelled, round and tight like a drum. Inside, something began to move. It kicked, it spun, it twisted restlessly. Then came the tearing. My shirt split open. Then something burst through the taut skin of my abdomen, wet and glistening, slick with a purplish sheen. It revealed tentacles, longer and stronger than anything I had ever seen or dared to swallow. I passed out to the sound of ambulance sirens. The smell of brine and bile thickened my nose. They took me to the hospital, or so I was told. I can't eat anymore. Not because I'm sick, because they are. And they are always hungry.
Patient Kim is suffering from severe poisoning. According to the test results, the toxin originated from the luminous octopuses. It's possible they were contaminated by some form of mutation.
We'll investigate the source of the toxin.
Anna Perez, 22 years old, works at a bar. She went missing after her shift. No friends, no family came forward to report it. She's the fourth victim in the past 3 months. All the victims are women working in the red light district. All of them disappeared mysteriously, with no witnesses or useful evidence to go on.
Hey, Gabby. I bought you some of those famous tacos from the stand outside headquarters. You're thinking about those missing person cases again, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I keep feeling like there's some connection between the cases.
There's nothing to it. The security in that area is a mess. Girls working in that district, how many of them live clean lives? Who's to say they didn't borrow money from some gang and run away? Sometimes you have to ignore the things you see. If you get too deep into it, the one who ends up hurt will be you.
I understand. Thanks, Joel. I'm Gabby, a police officer. I can't turn a blind eye to the crimes happening in my jurisdiction, especially when the victims are nothing but vulnerable young women. I returned home and quickly summarized the witness statements I had collected.
Spit out the piece of meat you swallowed from me! Hurry!
Why on earth would I have such a bizarre dream? What on earth is the hidden truth behind all of this? Exactly 7 days later, I received another report of a missing person. This time, once again, it was a young woman named Sue, another worker from the red light district. I opened the window to get some fresh air. I noticed the taco truck had reopened today. Thinking back, these mysterious disappearances always happened just a few days before the taco truck resumed business. The string of coincidences made me suspicious. I decided to investigate. I'll take 1 taco, please.
You're lucky. That's the last one I have.
Is it because you only open on certain days each month that your tacos are so sought after?
Exactly. My truck only opens on special religious holidays for the caster faith. Days for sharing love. Oh, nothing too unusual.
Thank you. The caster faith? Seems like she let something slip there.
Enjoy your meal.
Back at the office, I immediately started investigating the caster faith that Amila had mentioned. It was an ancient sect of the indigenous people, riddled with strange and barbaric practices like many other cults. But what caught my attention was the history of caster followers being arrested for performing human sacrifice rituals and consuming the victims as a way to absolve their own sins. A chilling sensation ran down my spine. Could the taco I ate really be normal? Unable to suppress my unease, I began searching through the filling for anything unusual. After sifting through the pieces of slightly dark-colored meat, a corner of a black dahlia tattoo emerged before my eyes. It was an exact match to the tattoo on the body of the most recent victim. This taco was made from human flesh. The truth was beginning to unfold, but to secure a warrant for Amila's arrest, I needed DNA confirmation from both the victim and the meat sample. Just then, a bank officer called to inform me that someone had used Anna's credit card. Extract all CCTV footage from the area and send me an image of the suspect as quickly as possible.
What's going on, Gabby?
I have a breakthrough in my case. I have to go now. Joel, help me get this meat sample and Sue's hair sample tested. Even if we don't have a solid conclusion yet, I'm sure Amila is connected to this case. Instead of waiting for a search warrant, I decided to break into her house to look for direct evidence. With some luck, I might even save her next victim. I searched every corner of the kitchen, but there was nothing suspicious. The entire space was spotless, as if it had just been thoroughly cleaned. Or perhaps this wasn't where she made the human meat tacos. As I was thinking, a message from the bank officer came through. To my surprise, the person using Anna's credit card was a man. Could it be that I have made a mistake? Impossible. Surely in this human taco case, Amila has an accomplice.
Looks like it's time to catch the nasty little mouse.
Amila, how did she come back so soon? To my surprise, the person using Anna's credit card was a man. Could it be that I have made a mistake? Impossible. Surely in this human taco case, Amila has an accomplice.
Looks like it's time to catch the nasty little mouse.
Amila, how did she come back so soon? I quickly hid in one of the rooms. Whatever Amila's words meant, My instincts told me that if she caught me, nothing good would come of it. She entered the room, her footsteps growing louder as she got closer to my hiding spot. I held my breath, heart pounding, but thankfully she didn't seem interested in checking the wardrobe. I wanted to escape this house as fast as I could, but just then, a notebook caught my eye. This was exactly what I had been looking for. I nervously opened the notebook. On the very first page, I saw a photo of Amela, and that man, Frank. My suspicions were spot on. They were indeed connected, though it seemed there was no marital tie between them. The notebook was like Pandora's box. The deeper I delved, the more horrifying truths came to light. The caster cult had indeed been sacrificing victims and eating their flesh. They even took photos to document their achievements. All the missing victims had been turned into their food. It was beyond disgusting. At that moment, the wardrobe door burst open without warning. The sudden flood of light blinded me.
Found the little mischievous mouse.
My heart raced wildly. Acting on instinct, I mustered every bit of training I had from the police academy and attacked the two figures in front of me to try and escape. But my strength alone wasn't enough. I was facing two serial killers. Frank's biceps wrapped tightly around my neck, the searing pain making it feel as though my neck could snap at any moment. I struggled in vain, my vision dimming until everything faded to black. I had no idea how long I'd been unconscious. When I woke up, my whole body ached and my head was spinning. But the figure standing before me snapped me back to full awareness.
Finally awake. I've been waiting for you for a long time.
Joel, you scared me. Did our team manage to capture Frank and Amela? Why am I here? Why was Joel here? Did he save me? But why bring me to this place? This looked like a human slaughterhouse. Joel, can you get me out of here first?
You're too naive. Haven't you wondered how Amela found you so quickly?
Get away from me, you freak!
You little wretch. You filthy outsider. Only the purified followers of Castor are worthy of leading this world. The rest of you, you're nothing but reserve stock for us.
You're insane. People like you are the ones who deserve to be eliminated by society and punished by the law. At that moment, Frank and Amela entered the room.
High Priest, is everything all right?
High Priest, are you hurt?
I've made my decision. This sinner here will be the next sacrifice for the day of sharing. Until then, make her suffer and atone for all of us.
Excellent. Let this sinner become divine sustenance to cleanse us.
For the sake of population control and purification!
I was terrified and utterly helpless. The people I was facing were no longer human. They were bloodthirsty monsters. They dressed me in a white gown and tied me to a large pillar. I looked like a helpless lamb awaiting slaughter. Then the butcher appeared, holding a thin blade and a silver platter. A chilling dread enveloped me. All I could do was scream in terror, but my cries seemed to excite him even more. With a swift, precise cut, he treated me like a giant block of cheese to be carved and scraped at his will. I was still alive, but it was a fragile existence, sustained only until the day of sharing. And with all the hatred Joel harbored for me, each day dragged on in agony. To them, I was nothing more than a substitute offering, a vessel for their so-called atonement. Finally, the day of sharing has arrived. I can no longer distinguish whether this marks the end of my days of suffering or the beginning of my ultimate torment. With all my remaining strength, I began my crazy plan of revenge. No matter the cost, I would not let those evil people get what they wanted. With a bottle of rust remover and some iron filings, I would create a deadly poison that would destroy me, but would also drag those who had harmed me to hell. The demons entered the room, but I was no longer afraid.
We offer this sinner as a sacrifice for atonement, so that we and those who consume her flesh may be cleansed of sin.
You can laugh now. Soon, my flesh and blood will kill you all.
Ore Lumina.
Ore Luminar.
Ore Luminar.
Ore Luminar.
The tacos made from my flesh will poison your customers. The police will come for you soon. I close my eyes with a satisfied smile, as if somewhere in the distance I hear the sound of police sirens, growing louder, enveloping me.
And finally, the dish you've all been waiting for is here. Today, I'm taking on the challenge of eating this giant pudding in just one gulp. Join me and let's dig in together. I'm Elliot, a pretty well-known mukbanger on YouTube, famous for my ability to devour anything with my big mouth. I slowly swallowed the massive pudding down. Honestly, it was a bit too much for me. Feeling the pudding slide down my throat, stuffing me full, and getting stuck halfway made me want to stop right there, but I had to keep going. This is the only job I've got. Finally, I did it. I beamed at the camera, waving to thank my audience as donations and compliments poured in through the screen. After the live stream ended, I rushed to the bathroom before the giant pudding could come back up. Today's meal was a bit too much for me. After throwing up everything I ate, I felt utterly drained. My jaw ached, and my lips and throat were swollen. The sour stench rising from my stomach made me want to vomit again. Sometimes, I feel like this mukbang job is turning my body into a food disposal machine. Eat, then throw up, never keeping anything down. But being a mukbanger has made me famous and earns me a lot of money. I have a comfortable life without needing to take on any kind of desk job. So, I choose to overlook the minor harm this job does to my body because I believe I'm still young, healthy, and nothing too serious will happen. To keep a steady fan base, I post mukbang videos almost every day. I carefully capture every chewing, biting, and sipping sound, creating the perfect ASMR effect that gets everyone excited. But once the camera is off, it's my own ASMR of screams as I spend hours stuck in the bathroom. Yet I keep eating, and eating more. Because my job is to make everyone feel like food tastes better. Even though I regularly throw up all the food after each live session, my stomach has been growing abnormally large. It feels a bit bloated, but it's not too uncomfortable. My persistence in uploading videos consistently has paid off. My subscriber count has skyrocketed, and along with it, the money I make keeps growing. I'm ashamed to admit that my weight has spiraled out of control. Getting dressed feels like fighting a battle. Tonight, an influencer invited me to attend a Christmas party. This is the first time I will be interacting with people in the industry, and I feel a bit nervous. I tried to appear relaxed, naturally chatting with the people around me. When the music started playing, I immersed myself in the crowd, enjoying the fun as I had always wished. But at that moment, my heart started beating fast to the rhythm of the music, my belly fat jiggling, and my stomach contracting violently. A severe pain hit me, causing my vision to darken. I collapsed to the floor, unconscious. When I opened my eyes, I was already in the hospital, my whole body limp and weak.
You have a stomach hemorrhage and fatty blood. You need to adjust your diet immediately if you want to continue living.
I nodded perfunctorily, his tone making me uncomfortable. I am a mukbanger. How can I eat normally? If I don't stream for too long, I'll lose fans, lose my income, and lose everything. I happened to see a clip of myself fainting at the party last night. Many fans sent messages asking about my well-being. So how can I rest in the hospital? I smiled and typed a reassuring message to everyone. Hello to all my beloved fans. To show my gratitude for your support, tonight I will be hosting a special live stream that will last until New Year's Eve. A live stream featuring traditional dishes from various countries for the new year. And the 10-hour countdown starts now. After spending one day in the hospital, I immediately found a way to escape and began preparing for this special live stream. 5 hours passed, and I tried to eat and chat leisurely, but the amount of food was truly overwhelming. 9.5 hours passed, and my mouth was so sore, it almost lost feeling. My stomach was bloated like a balloon, hard as a rock. But I encouraged myself. There was only one dish left. I was sure I could do it. And here is the most exciting dish of the night. A stuffed pork leg. Without making you wait any longer, let's swallow this together to welcome the explosive moment of New Year's Eve. My wide mouth could encompass the pork leg, but as it went down my narrow throat, it filled my entire throat. I struggled to breathe, tears involuntarily streaming down. Hang in there, Elliot. Just a little more and this challenge will be over. At that moment, the countdown to New Year's Eve outside began. 10, 9, 8, 7. My stomach twisted with each count. Then I heard a loud bang coming from inside my own body. Outside, fireworks were exploding, and I vaguely heard the sound of an ambulance siren. Could it be that a fan called 911 for me? I must look terrible right now, right? My consciousness faded until I couldn't think anymore.
This is a slander!
I am Zahn, a drone among the hive, a servant to the queen and protector of our cycle. Yet today, I question everything I have ever known. It began with a film, a human artifact, an insidious weapon disguised as storytelling. The humans called it alien. They had captured footage of us, our forms, our methods, and our survival.
See what they think of us. Learn their deceit.
The screen glowed. Scenes of violence unfolded, our kind bursting forth from their frail chests, their screams reverberating through the chambers. They called us monsters, parasites, invaders. The narrative was clear. They feared us, loathed us, and most chillingly, were preparing to eradicate us.
They plan to weaponize against us, to turn our own biology against us.
The thought sent a chill down my exoskeleton. Humans had conceived a grotesque revenge, using our bodies as hosts for their own infestation. A horrifying reversal of our sacred cycle. The Queen declared war. She would not allow our perfection to be tarnished, our legacy trampled by such fragile, chaotic beings. Yet as the hive roared in agreement, I remained silent. Later, in the solitude of my alcove, I replayed the film's imagery. The agony of the xenomorph on the screen, the human writhing its way out. It haunted me. I could almost feel the searing pain, the unnatural violation of the cycle. Why did the humans hate us so? Were they so blind to their own violence that they couldn't see their actions mirrored in ours? For the first time, I felt something foreign. Empathy, the pain, the violation. Was this how the humans felt as we seeded them? Their fear, their screams. It was not so different from what I imagined in that moment. When I approached the Queen, my claws trembled with trepidation. "We should negotiate," I said, my voice low. "Their fear drives them. Perhaps we can stop this before more blood is shed." Her massive form turned toward me, her glistening skull tilting in a silent challenge. The hive murmured in disbelief.
Negotiate? With prey?
Her voice was a venomous hiss. "With equals," I dared to reply. The silence that followed was suffocating. Yet after a long moment, she relented.
Very well, Zarn. You will go as our emissary. But make no mistake, if you fail, war will follow.
I was to lead a small group to the human world, to negotiate where no other drone had dared. My chest swelled with determination. I would bridge the divide between our species. We arrived on the human world under a veil of caution, my team moving silently through their metal constructs. The humans were fragile, soft, yet clever. Their fear was palpable, and I could feel their weapons trained on us, even if they remained unseen. I began the negotiation, my words clicking and hissing through the translation device we had scavenged. The humans listened, their expressions inscrutable. But they treated us well, gave us private rooms to rest and eat. For a brief moment, I thought peace might be possible. Then the attack came. A sharp sting pierced the base of my spine. My limbs grew heavy, my vision blurred, and darkness consumed me. The last thing I saw was a human holding a needle-like device, its tip gleaming with ichor. I woke with a start, the memory of the ambush lingering like a bitter taste. My body felt strange but intact. Had it been a dream, a fabrication of my overworked mind? My team gathered around me, their concern evident. To reassure them, and myself, I joined them for nourishment. The food was bitter, but it steadied me. For a moment, I almost believed everything was normal. Then it began. A cough racked my body, sharp and violent. My claws scraped at the table as I doubled over. My team surrounded me, their clicks urgent with alarm.
Zarn, what is wrong?
I couldn't answer. Pain lanced through my abdomen, a searing, unnatural agony. Something was moving inside me. They laid me on a table, their clicks frantic with concern. My limbs thrashed as the thing inside me shifted, writhing with unnatural intent. I clawed at my own chest, desperate to stop the growing pressure. It surged upward, twisting, tearing. Then, with a sickening crack, my chest exploded. I let out a guttural scream as a human, pale, pink and glistening, erupted from my chest, drenched in my ichor. The room fell silent. Then chaos erupted. The hive recoiled in horror.
It's inside him!
One of them hissed. The human let out a guttural cry, its fragile limbs trembling as it stood. My vision blurred, the pain overwhelming. My body felt hollow, violated. And still I watched. The hive erupted into chaos. My team grabbed their weapons, their rage a tangible force. The human, impossibly small yet unyielding, dodged their strikes, darting through the shadows like a spectre. I lay on the table, my strength fading, my ichor pooling beneath me. Yet my mind was alight with realization. This was their plan all along. Not just to kill us, but to become us, to corrupt the cycle itself. I struggled to rise, my claws trembling as I grabbed a communicator. "Report. To the Queen," I rasped, my voice a fractured whisper. "Prepare the hive. For war." Through the haze of pain, I watched as my team clashed with the human. Their movements were mirror images, their violence indistinguishable. It was then I understood the terrible truth. We and the humans were not so different, both bound by instinct, both trapped in cycles of destruction. This was no longer about survival, it was about annihilation. The war would come, and it would consume us all, and in the end, neither species would win, only violence would remain, echoing through the stars. I'd been out of work for nearly 2 months. At first, it felt manageable, updating my resume, sending out applications. But the silence that followed began to chip away at me. One rejection turned into 20, and soon I was counting coins to buy instant noodles while dodging calls from my landlord. That's when I saw the ad. It looked outdated, like someone built the site in a rush and never checked it again. But there it was, the Wendy's logo, bright and familiar. Part-time staff needed, weekly pay, immediate start, must follow upper management's instructions. No contact info, no application portal, just a big red apply button. I told myself it was probably just a rural franchise running on outdated tech. I didn't need polished. I needed income. So I clicked. Less than an hour later, they texted me the address. It led to a forgotten corner of town, past rows of broken warehouses and crumbling fences. When I pulled up, I sat in the car for a long moment, just staring. The Wendy's sign was mirrored from inside the glass. The neon lights flickered with a sickly hum. Every window was so caked in grime it looked like they were trying to keep the light out. I reminded myself this wasn't downtown. It was the edge of the city. Places like this were always a little rough around the edges. As long as they paid me, I didn't care what it looked like. So I got out of the car and walked in. The smell hit me first. Stale fryer oil clinging to layers of bleach. Then manager stepped out from the back, wearing a stained, faded apron. No greeting, no name, just a cold glance, then silence. He asked for my ID, gave it a quick look, then said,
"You good to start today?"
The speed of it threw me off. No paperwork, no questions, but I needed this. "Yes," I said. He handed me a faded shirt and nodded toward the back.
"You're on kitchen duty. All meat prep comes through you. The freezer's your station now."
The freezer was colder than any I'd ever been in. And it wasn't just the temperature. The air was thick, foul, metallic. The meat wasn't packaged in neat boxes or sealed bags. It was piled in torn plastic sheets, dark liquid leaking from every side into puddles on the floor. Some pieces looked mauled. "I thought Wendy's used fresh beef," I muttered. The manager appeared behind me without a sound.
"We just sell whatever upper management sends us. Don't ask questions."
I should have walked away. But that night he handed me an envelope, thick, soft, with a stack of cash folded inside. So I came back the next day, and the day after that. The place stayed busy. Drive-through cars looped around the building. Inside, people devoured their meals like they hadn't eaten in days. But after just a few days, customers began to return, their faces pale, their movements slow and shaky. Some burst through the doors, clutching their stomachs, demanding answers, their voices rising with panic. I told the manager, twice, but he didn't flinch, just stared at me with that same unreadable face.
"Some people just can't handle it."
Later that night, he handed me another envelope, thicker than the last, warm from his pocket. I should have walked away right then and there, but something held me back. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was the image of those sick, helpless people who'd eaten what we served them. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to find out where that meat really came from. The next night, when the delivery truck pulled in, I followed it. It drove miles out of town and veered off the road into a fenced compound labeled Dawn Bend Livestock. I parked off-road and climbed through a hole in the fence. There were pens, dozens of them, and inside were cows, if you could still call them that. They twitched and stumbled, barely able to stand, skin flaking, covered in raw patches. Their eyes glowed red, pupils wide and erratic, and the sounds they made. They didn't moo. They screamed, long, high-pitched wails that curdled my spine. Men in hazmat suits moved between the pens, spraying thick chemicals. One of them muttered,
"It's too late! The virus is in the marrow!"
And then I saw him, my manager, standing at the center of it all. Before I could move, one of the cows saw me. It charged. I turned to run, but the ground gave way beneath me. My feet stuck in the mud. I couldn't breathe. The thing came barreling toward me, and then something slammed into me from the side. The manager, he'd thrown me out of its path. We hit the ground hard. The cow crashed into the fence with a sickening crack, but didn't stop. He grabbed the meat cleaver from the ground and without hesitation brought it down in a single, brutal arc, severing the creature's head. It dropped instantly, its body crumpling into the mud like a sack of ruined flesh. We sat there in the mud, both gasping for breath.
This place used to raise black market cattle, sick animals, mutated strains. We thought we could contain it, but the virus changed. They're not cattle anymore.
Before I could respond, a voice rang out from across the yard.
Inspectors are almost here.
Everything snapped into chaos. The manager tossed me a hazmat suit and told me to put it on. Said it might protect me from whatever this thing was. Then the workers rushed in, brandishing meat cleavers and stun guns, charging the pens. The creatures, if they were still animals at all, screamed as they were slaughtered, blood spraying across the walls, splattering our boots and gloves. I moved with them, helping without thinking, without understanding. Yes, even me. Minutes later, the pens fell silent. Bodies were dragged behind the shed. Bleach flooded the concrete. Everyone worked fast, scrubbing, covering, erasing what had just happened. By the time the inspectors arrived, the farm looked quiet, clean, almost normal. But I wasn't. My skin burned. My throat tightened. Something inside me pulsed, desperate to escape. One inspector approached.
You all right?
I opened my mouth to answer and vomited black sludge straight into his face. Then, everything went black.
I'm Sarah. I rented an old McDonald's. Luckily, the equipment was still in good condition, so I just had to do some minor cleaning, and I can open my store tomorrow. While cleaning, I heard a strange noise. I followed the sound and found a Ronald McDonald statue. I'm so lucky. Kids love Ronald. I'll put it in front of the store. I'm sure it will attract a lot of children. Opening day was a huge success. We were open until 11 p.m. Everyone was exhausted, so I decided to work the late shift. This town is mostly farms, so I figured it would be pretty quiet. I was just sitting there, scrolling through my phone, when I heard the order bell. I went to the counter, but there was no one there. Maybe I heard it wrong. Just as I was about to close the window, a blood-red message caught my eye. More childish pranks? This town isn't as peaceful as I thought. I had just sat down when the bell rang again, urgently. Someone was trying to mess with me already. I stood up angrily and was about to confront whoever was doing this when it appeared in front of me. Exactly. It appeared because I had shut all the doors of the sales booth. "Get out of here!" She looked scary, but she was just a little girl, right? Are you hungry? Can I help you?
Aren't you scared of me?
She seemed so miserable. She must have suffered a lot. I replied calmly, "You're not scary at all." Suddenly, the window shattered. Was it not her ringing the bell? I looked at the window and there was Ronald McDonald staring at me with an evil grin. What in the world is happening?
Run!
Sully's scream jolted me back to reality, and I instinctively followed her. We dashed into the storage room, and I couldn't resist asking her, "Hey, you seem to know a lot about that creepy clown statue." She didn't respond, but floated up, sending a crate crashing to the floor. There, before my eyes, was a crate of files, full of the store's dark secrets.
The clown statue is haunted by Sean. He's the one who hurt me. He would put on a Ronald McDonald costume, and since my dad was always busy, I'd come to the store alone. Sean would always treat me. One day, Sean said he would take me home instead of my dad. I went with him, but we went farther and farther, and it got darker and darker. I tried to escape, but he held me tight. I was terrified. He hurt me so badly that my soul left my body. I knew right then that I was dead. My dad thought Sean had hurt me, but he couldn't find any proof. So my dad killed him right here in front of the store. So my dad went to jail, and that guy, Sean, possessed the clown statue and started haunting me.
I couldn't believe the reason this store was closed was so terrifying. Just then, the storage room door slammed shut with a bang. "Sully, don't worry, I'm here for you." The door was kicked open, and the creepy clown appeared with a sinister laugh. He wasn't a friendly clown anymore. Inside him was a monster.
You sick bastard! I won't let you hurt anyone else.
Even though I smashed its head in, the clown statue didn't seem to care. Its smile was so taunting. The clown could even control broken bricks. I didn't see that coming. I could only cover my head.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. This statue is going down. I'm going to crush this evil statue and make that pervert Sean disappear forever. I turned him into dust. Let's see if he can come back. Finally, the clown was completely defeated. Sully ran to hug me. Now she can finally rest. To give Sully's spirit peace, I called the police to the spot where her body was buried. As she wished, I also asked her father to come and claim her body. Finally, after 23 years, her body was found. Seeing the old man, her father, sorrowfully holding his daughter's body, my heart ached. This was the last comfort for him. He finally got to meet his daughter. I did a good thing, didn't I?
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Goodbye, Sully. I'm Katie, or at least that's the name I've adopted for the internet. You probably know me, or knew me, as the blindfolded MUKBANG YouTuber who captivated millions with my silent, bizarre eating broadcasts. My channel skyrocketed because of the mystery I cultivated. A simple gimmick: never show my face, never speak, and always eat ravenously, like I hadn't touched food in days. It worked. Bruises on my wrist, Morse code taps on my plates, cryptic captions with capitalized SOS letters, every little detail carefully planned to keep viewers hooked. They speculated endlessly. Is she kidnapped? Is she being held against her will? Who's behind the camera? The truth? No one was behind the camera but me. I wasn't a victim. I was the mastermind, and I made a killing off it, literally and figuratively. At first, my fabricated cries for help were enough to pull in views. Every video made me richer. I never imagined making money could be this easy. It felt like I'd found my talent. I planned a new angle, something to keep the audience guessing. So I came up with the idea for private live streams, pay-to-watch exclusives. My fans ate it up, both figuratively and literally. During the first live stream, I repeatedly pressed my head into a large bowl of sauce, as if someone were forcefully pushing me down. The chat exploded. Who's hurting you? Why isn't she fighting back? Is she okay? Kate, we're here for you. Just give us a sign. The tips poured in. The live stream was a massive success, but it came with a problem. Comments shifted from concern to skepticism. She's faking it, they'd say. This is all for attention. Some even presented compelling evidence to prove their point. They weren't wrong. I needed a new plan. That's when I brought Joel into the picture. Joel was a struggling actor I found through an extras group. I pitched him the idea. He'd play my captor, forcing me to eat during live streams while I pretended to beg for mercy. Joel was hesitant at first, but the promise of money changed his mind. Our first joint live stream was electric. Joel loomed behind me, occasionally barking orders as I stuffed food into my mouth. The chat went wild. This is insane. Someone call the police. Katie, are you okay? The more desperate I acted, the more money came in. For weeks, the plan worked perfectly. Joel and I split the profit, and my channel reached heights I'd only dreamed of. But then, Joel started getting too into his role. It was during our third live stream together. Something felt off the moment we started. Joel's demeanor had changed. He wasn't just playing the part, he was embodying it.
Eat!
He growled, shoving a massive crab leg in front of me. I played along, taking exaggerated bites, but Joel wasn't satisfied. He grabbed a handful of shrimp and pushed it toward my face.
More,
he demanded. The chat exploded. Oh my God, this is too real. Why everyone keeps saying she's acting? She's a good actress? Someone needs to stop this. Huh. At first, I thought Joel was improvising for dramatic effect. But when I tried to signal for him to ease up, a subtle tap on the table we'd agreed upon, he ignored me. Joel, that's enough, I whispered, my voice barely audible under the sounds of chewing. He leaned in close, his breath hot against my ear.
This isn't what you wanted, Katie.
My stomach dropped. Joel grabbed a handful of food and stuffed it into my mouth, harder this time. I gagged, my blindfold slipping as I tried to push him away. I tried to spit out the food and scream, but Joel's hand clamped over my mouth.
Keep eating. The show must go on.
Desperation kicked in. I reached for the only weapon I had, the food itself. Grabbing the greasy seafood plate, I hurled it at Joel's face. He recoiled, momentarily stunned. I seized the chance to run, tearing off the blindfold and sprinting out of the room. I didn't stop running until I reached the police station. My story spilled out between gasps for air, but the officers didn't seem convinced. When I showed them the text between Joel and me, they raised their eyebrows.
These messages make it clear this was all planned.
It wasn't supposed to be real, I shouted, but they didn't care. To them, I was just a desperate YouTuber trying to go viral. Now, I'm back home. Every door locked, every window bolted shut. My YouTube channel is gone. My social media accounts deleted. But the fear remains. Yesterday, I received an email from an unknown sender. Isn't this what you wanted, Katie? No attachments, no context, just that one sentence. I don't know where Joel is now, but I can't shake the feeling that he's watching me. Somewhere, out there, he's waiting for me to let my guard down.